betrayal hurts because there is a part of it that was your fault. I know that that's easy to say, but what does that actually mean? Well, it means that you gave your trust out to somebody and that trust has been broken, or you have given energy, time, effort towards somebody else and they have not given it the same appreciation and respect that it deserves. I had somebody write me a DM the other day, and in that message they talked about the idea that their partner had cheated on them and they don't know how to move forward and they feel betrayed. I would argue that betrayal, well, it leaves a trail. And going down that trail is extremely important. When you are betrayed, you need to understand what went wrong and why it went wrong so you do not make that mistake again. And it's not to say that you will not be hurt again, because unfortunately in life, things happen. You have lapses of your judgment. You trust somebody that seems trustworthy only for you to get smacked in the face. It's not so much about, doing the complete opposite and demonizing everybody and being like, oh my gosh, everyone is out to get me. That won't help you as much as you think it will. Your automatic response is to cocoon yourself and protect yourself. But the truth is that long term will do you more harm than it will good. You need to go to the point where you knew that something was wrong, and oftentimes we all have this. We like to think that we don't, but when we look at betrayal, we look at the small, tiny little things that began to pile up. The signs, the flags, they were always red and they were always there. It doesn't change the fact that you've now been betrayed, and moving off of betrayal is one of the most difficult things in the world, because how can you be sure that nobody else will do the same thing to you? How can you be sure that you are safe and that you are able to be vulnerable to somebody else, that you are able to open up in the way that you want? You're able to make a "my name Jeff" joke without being laughed at, even though your last partner thought that you were annoying. They disguised it as like, oh, that's funny, ha ha, but they didn't actually find you entertaining. They didn't find you funny. You were just a blip in their past. Betrayal hurts. Betrayal is realizing that you were in love with the idea of somebody, not the actual reality of somebody. And betrayal is painful because being wrong is painful. Being wrong sucks, and it hurts, and it's not good. It doesn't feel good. If it did, everyone would do it. Everyone would be wrong all the time, but that's why there's this unlearning of being wrong being a bad thing, because really, you being wrong is you learning. It's you making a mistake and realizing, okay, that's not cool. This relationship was not good. This betrayal that I have experienced by somebody, okay, maybe I need to build better trust in the people that I'm around and the relationships I'm around, instead of completely going into it and giving all of myself. Maybe there needs to be a give and take. Maybe there needs to be more time of us getting to know each other before we cover all of the bases. I'm guilty of that myself. These things are important. These are things you need to consider. And after you've accepted the fact that there is a trail, and there's something that you can pinpoint, and there's a reason why the things happened and why you were betrayed, you can now understand and look at the characteristics of a person that isn't trustworthy. You can look at what in yourself did you give up that allowed yourself to be open and vulnerable to something like this happening to you. Oftentimes, cheating is brought up as a huge part, and nobody likes to get cheated on. I mean, it's a fear of mine. I totally understand. But I think that it is a fear of mine because of the idea of not finding out. That's been the big thing for me, that somebody cheats on me and I'm oblivious to it, and I'm walking around like, oh, I have no idea. But when I look at that, I realize I'm not actually scared of somebody being with somebody else. I'm just afraid of not knowing, and that's a bigger problem. And if I go on the defense and I just assume all the time that if my partner wants to go and hang out with her friends, that there's a chance somebody might be there and they might cheat on me, it's not a rational way of thinking, and I need to trust. I need to trust, and I need to build trust with somebody, like, from the get-go, in order to be like, I can trust that when you're going somewhere, I'm not second-guessing where you are. I can trust that when you tell me that you have a friend that is a man, that it isn't an encroachment on our relationship. And that trust, it comes from learning from when you've been betrayed. It's all a learning process. Now, how do you deal with the fallout? Like, how do you deal with your relationship with this person and knowing that somebody that hurt you so bad exists in the world without any consequences? That's oftentimes how it feels. You're done wrong and you almost like want revenge. You want retribution against somebody else. I think we need to stop right there. Because their life is no longer of your concern. And the more time that you think about them in that context, the more time that you think about how much wrong was done to you and how much you want wrong done to them, you are doing yourself a disservice. You are worried about the wrong thing because they do not matter anymore. Yes, they hurt you. Yes, they betrayed you. Yes, they cheated on you. Yes, they did some damage. But that does not need to be your story. It does not need to be the end of the line. It doesn't need to be, oh, that is what it is. I'm just betrayed by everyone around me. No. That is a decision that you are making, looking at this situation. Now, obviously, you're valid in being upset. You're valid in being angry. I'm not going to sit here and be like, just be stoic about it, bro. No, be upset, man. It sucks. Nobody deserves to be cheated on. Nobody deserves to have someone play with you in plain sight and make you think you're crazy. That's not normal. And you didn't deserve that. But you also have to understand that that person wants you to give in to those emotions. They want you to feel something about it. And in my experience, what has really helped me is being like, okay, this was the situation. That is the person. I am no longer with this person because they've betrayed me. And so I'm moving here. I'm gone. Me and this person, no longer. We're done. And I need to take the energy that I would have towards hating them, towards stalking their profile and looking for any subliminal on their spam account or whatever. I need to invest it in myself. And I need to treat myself better. Because betrayal oftentimes is a lack of self-respect. Because you knew what was going on. You knew there were signs, and you decided to ignore them. And there's a level of accountability that is insanely uncomfortable, but that you need to make to realize that you don't want this to happen again. And a lot of people wish, they're like, oh yeah, I don't want that to ever happen again. But if it did, it would give them the perfect excuse to be a bad human being. How do you know this, Zerky? Because I've used that same excuse. Because somebody inflicted pain on me, I am allowed to then go into a situationship and emotionally cut myself off and play with somebody else's feelings because it happened to me. That is not the right thing to do.